Yeah, good evening, everybody, again. Welcome and thank you very much for being with us for this Sustainable Accelerator investor event. I'm Susanna McClintock, the Investment Director at Sustainable Ventures. This is one of our regular investor events that we run to share with our investor community pitches from our portfolio companies raising for next rounds of funding. Hopefully everyone on the call is invested in one of our 4 Sustainable Accelerator funds or is a guest of an investor, so we'll have a particular interest in the companies pitching here this evening. Sustainable Accelerator has raised and invested three funds, and the companies pitching here this evening are from those 3 funds. We also just around Christmas closed our 4th fund and we'll be investing from that fund over the next couple of quarters, and hopefully there are some investors with us from Sustainable Accelerator 4 as well. Thank you to everyone who supported that campaign. And welcome to join us here this evening for this event. Yep, so across our 3 portfolios so far, we've made 23 investments, invested just under 3 million, and those companies have gone on to raise 27 million in further funding, and often from angel and investor groups like yourselves that are very important in kind of the next round, the seed round funding that these companies go on to raise after they graduate from the Accelerator program. So this evening we're going to hear from 3 companies. We'll run the event from 5 through to 6. We'll promise to be done by 6 p.m. We've got 3 very interesting companies, both Circular and Beagle from our Fund 2. They're both currently fundraising. They're going to pitch for 10 minutes each, and there'll be 10 minutes per company Q&A afterwards. And then Michael from Sunswap is going to give you a shortened pitch. You'll hear a little bit more about that, but their crowdfunding campaign was oversubscribed right at the beginning of the year, so a little bit less space in that raise, but for those invested in Fund 3, obviously the opportunity to join that campaign, that fundraising round via the preemption. So in a minute I'll ask the first of our presenters, Claudia Gwinnett from Circular, to share her screen, but just a few pieces of housekeeping. We are recording the event so that those that can't join us might be able to watch the pitching. We've found in the past that in the Q&A it's just easier if you pop your questions in the chat box and we can try to moderate. It saves us all kind of unmuting and trying to speak at the same time. And if there's extra time at the end after everyone's pitched, we can easily take some more questions. Those questions that we're not able to get to, we'll also ask the entrepreneurs to try to come back to you directly. And we'll give you a few explanatory pieces at the end of the event as to how you can get involved in these fundraisers directly and or reach out to the founders. So yes, it's going to be 10 minutes pitching and 10 minutes Q&A. First up is Claudia Gwinnett from Circular, who's been having a fantastic new year with many major pieces of news media coverage that I'm sure she will share with us. Raising it currently in a round of raising 200,000 in the seed round, and sort of 3/4 of that round already committed from investors, but space to join that round if of interest. So I'm going to stop sharing and ask Claudia to share. There might be a little pause whilst we do the handover.
Okay, can everyone see that?
Brilliant, Claudia. I can certainly see it, so I'm assuming everyone can see it. So whenever you're ready, over to you.
Great. So hi everyone, it's absolutely lovely to be with you all this evening. My name is Claudia and I am the founder of Circular. At Circular, we have taken inspiration from the traditional milkman service, where refillable and durable packaging used to be the norm, and we imagine this service for the beauty industry and the modern day consumer. The packaging waste crisis is one of the most defining environmental issues of our time. Within the beauty industry, 1.2 billion units of packaging is produced every year, and only 1% of that is reused. Now, single-use packaging has led to devastating consequences on the environment, most notably the impact that we've probably all seen from David Attenborough that plastic has had on our oceans. But the size of the environmental problem is matched, in my belief, only by the scale of the commercial opportunity available. Globally, it is estimated that replacing just 20% of single-use packaging with reusable alternatives is an innovation opportunity worth at least $10 billion. So the good news is that the tide is starting to turn. This has mainly been driven by consumer demand. In 2019, ethical consumer spending hit record high levels of 41 billion in the UK. And consumers, in particular with beauty products, have shown a huge preference for buying eco-friendly products. And one of the main concerns that they have had is around packaging. And we've seen this from surveys that we've conducted with our own customer cohort. But shopping for sustainable products, as many of you might know, remains a hassle. It can be very expensive for some and also remains confusing. A lot of big brands and big retailers, as I'm sure you've seen, have jumped on the sustainability bandwagon. And actually what we find ourselves in a position today is that consumers really struggle to know what truly is sustainable to what is just what I like to call marketing greenwash. And at Circular, we therefore believe that consumers deserve better choices. And that is why our mission at Circular is to make the most responsible choice the convenient choice. And how do we do this? So right from customers' own kind of sofa, so right from the sofa that or chair that you're sitting on today, you're able to order from a whole selection of what we like to call a curated range of sustainable brands. We deliver these products in our reusable packaging and through our auto replenishment service, which not only lets you have the products that you need when you need them, but we also come to collect that empty packaging directly from your doorstep. And this is what we believe is kind of the true differentiator to our service to many other refill services that exist today, is by removing that hassle. So our service is built on 3 core values. The first one is that we handpick the brands. We know that consumers want choice. So we curate the collection of brands. At the moment, we have 8 brands on board across 26 different SKUs. So everything from hair care to body care to face moisturizer. And at the moment, we have 18 different brands in the pipeline since our launch in November to join our platform. The next, we've already talked to you about this, which is simplicity and ease. We believe that we need to eliminate the hassle for consumers to shop more sustainably. And that is exactly why we come directly to you. So no more having to send a pouch back, using the postal service, or remembering that bottle to go into a refill store. The third bit that we've seen directly and we put places of value to Circular, and we've seen why people have joined our platform, is that consumers want to be able to see the impact that they're having and be rewarded for doing so. Other refill service providers, like for the likes of Loop, which I'm sure lots of you have heard of, put a deposit on every single item that a customer adds to their basket. And what we've seen is that this becomes a huge deterrent for a customer to be able to swap to a more sustainable solution. Instead, at Circular, for every bottle you return, we reward it with loyalty points, which you can then claim back on future orders. Now, the journey to Circular and the journey to where we are today has sure been a roller coaster. So we launched onto the scene in December 2019 with the first returnable packaging pilot at Luton Airport, focused on travel miniatures. This is a huge success, and after 6 weeks, we had actually gained quite a lot of interest from a large duty-free supplier to be able to roll this out in multiple airports. Alongside this, in April of this year, we were due to launch in 3 hotels with the first ever refill service for hotel amenities. Now, I'm sure you was probably chuckling at yourself, because I can definitely chuckle at the timings of it myself. March of 2020 was obviously when the world went into lockdown, and operating in the hospitality and tourism industry was definitely kind of a bit of an issue. But what we did do was we were very, very able to quickly utilize the exact same infrastructure that we had in place for our refill engine, as I like to call it, and adapt it to a D2C model. In the summer of 2020, we launched the refill model that I've just taken you through in Islington in my local area. And after seeing a huge demand on a wait list, we've now rolled that out across all of central London in November of 2020. As Susanna mentioned, we have recently had some really fantastic press coverage. In between Christmas and New Year, we were featured in the Daily Mail newspaper. I'll put my opinions of the Daily Mail aside, all press is good press, alongside being featured on ITV this morning and most recently last week on the BBC. So how has our traction of our D2C model gone? Well, since November of 2020, we've had 264 customers onboarded onto the platform. Now, what I'm most proud of about this is actually we've only had a marketing budget of £150 to acquire these customers. As I've mentioned, we have 8 brands across 26 SKUs onto the platform already. We're delivering already across all of Zone 1 and Zone 2 of London. We're seeing a great average basket size of around £24. But what's even better for me is that we have an 85% refill requests. So unlike what I think from lots of our competitors and lots of other refill service providers out there, customers are requesting refills. This month was the first month that we actually started putting that into operation. So for the last few weeks, we've been collecting the empty packaging. We've had a few little technical glitches here and there, but I have to say it was a very surreal moment on the 3rd of January, going out to our first customer to collect our first empty bottles and replace it with a refill. And in December, which is our first full month of trading with this new model, we did £4,000 in sales. Now, what is the opportunity and who is our target customer? Well, our customers are not hardcore environmentalists. They are people looking to make a change in their life. They're the type of person who has probably watched David Attenborough, felt an urge, looked at plastic pollution, but actually when it came down to it, they were very unlikely to make a big change in their life. Why? Because convenience, the products that they use are they place more of an impact on that than actually making the change itself. At the moment, we are focused on young female millennials, as this is where we believe we've seen the most traction and the products that we have on our platform kind of meet their demand. But we have got in our pipeline to increase kind of male grooming products onto the platform, as well as ensure that we have a more accessible price point to be able to ensure that we're not just focused on a higher end market. Now, the most interesting part of this, how do you make money? Well, our refill service, a bit like a subscription model, drives recurring customers, which provides a stable and predictive revenue. In terms of how this works, we do not force a customer into a subscription model. Reason for this is, I'm sure if I ask many of you, how often are you buying shampoo? Not many of you could easily be able to say that. But what we have seen is that we've seen half of our customers sign up to the subscription service on their first go, and we've seen a huge conversion of the rest of the customers once they've tried the product, being able to easily see in their customer account when they last bought it, and now have kind of converted into our subscription model. The average refill request is around every 3 months, and at the moment we're seeing a predicted lifetime value of each customer of around £150. Now this is really, for me, there's 2 things that really drive our business model, and it comes back to kind of the proposition and a bit later around what we're raising investment for. The first thing is to increase the number of products that a customer is buying through Circular. So we urgently need to be able to onboard more brands, because we never want a customer to find Circular and be like, oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for, but I've got actually really dry damaged hair and you don't have a product that meets my specifications. So we need to be able to increase that product offering. The second part of that is to increase the lifetime value of the customer. So ensuring that we have the right retention strategies in place to ensure that that customer after 2-3 refills is not dropping out of our service. Now, in terms of the unit economics, the operationally and the kind of scalability of this lies in our packaging. So to explain a little bit about how the kind of service works, and I'll try not to get into too much more detail, but this is probably the bit that excites me the most, but I think it is useful to understand how our business model works. So we do not create the product that goes inside any of our packaging. We source this from a variety of different brands, and we have a very, very stringent kind of process in place for how we do that. So we purchase that in bulk, and the only way that really we can benefit from kind of economies of scales is purchasing more of that product from the same brand. In terms of our packaging, how we become kind of more operationally efficient is by increasing the amount of times we're reusing that packaging. And this is exactly why we're asking for investment. At the moment, we're having to use linear models of packaging. There's only a certain amount of times that they can be reused. By investing in our packaging, we believe that this becomes a full asset of Circular and increases the amount of times that we can reuse it. Alongside this, it is streamlining the infrastructure and what I like to call the refill engine of Circular, to make sure that the cleaning, filling, and station to run our refill service is seamlessly integrated both into our pack, but is also automated. I'll quickly go through the next two slides, but this is really focusing on, where do we see it going? So for me, my goal is to be the leading reuse and refill packaging service provider for both consumers and businesses. I do hope that one day, and I cannot see why not, with the strong refill engine built today, there's no reason why we can't go back to our hotel and hospitality model in the future. But at the moment, our focus is on three main things: growing our service outside of central London, building the proposition to ensuring we have a whole range of brands and products in place. And the third bit is ensuring that we have the right technology and the right refill engine to enable us to scale. And there's three parts of this, which is the packaging, the filling and cleaning station, and the tracking of that packaging. As Susanna mentioned, we are raising £200,000 to be able to do this. We have secured about 150 grand. We have that committed from a fund and from angel investors. But we have only that 90k of SEIS has been taken, so the remaining of this would be SEIS funded. So to me, the future of, and the future is circular, the future of shopping is reusable. I think this is the most practical way that us as consumers and as retailers can really make an impact in terms of the waste crisis that we find ourselves in. This is why we're looking to do really exciting things with our bottle. So our bottle in the future will be made with ocean waste plastic, which in 5 years' time will have removed 1,000 tons of plastic. We will have saved 2 million units and 2 million units of packaging. So I think I'm nearly out of time. I know I can talk quite quickly, but I will therefore leave it open to questions, which I'm sure there's lots of.
Thank you, Claudia. Yeah, brilliant high-speed run through. Whilst we wait for questions to come in, just when you were talking about the SEIS and EIS allocation, yes. Just to confirm, so the 90k of SEIS previously available has been taken.
Yes.
So it's an EIS investment.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
But yeah. Okay. Great. So we haven't had any questions yet. That might be shyness on the part of our investor audience. Yeah, maybe you could just spend a little bit more time talking about where the with this round of funding, where you hope to get to.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, in terms of what we want to achieve with it. Yeah. So I think, I've got a really good slide here, if you just give me 2 seconds. So this is one of the biggest things, and I didn't want to dwell on it too much, but one of the biggest issues with kind of refill services at the moment is that what most brands are doing is they're taking what I call a linear packaging solution. So things like plastic, glass, aluminium, and we're kind of putting them into a kind of a circular refill life cycle. And actually that's just fundamentally flawed, because we've seen it, having run this now, various trials over the last year and a half. Things like glass and aluminium are not fit for purpose to be reused, particularly for beauty. I mean, glass is very expensive to transport. Not everyone wants it in their bathroom, and aluminium unfortunately dents really, really quickly. So a large part of this investment round is to be able to build our own reusable bottle. We've worked quite extensively with a packaging designer to be able to do this. So these are some design mock-ups, but the idea behind it is that we would take ocean waste plastic, so polypropylene, so the same stuff that that makes your kind of Tupperware and reusable water bottles, and that would become our bottle. That would how we would make the circular reusable bottle. This also overcomes quite a few kind of pain points that we have in our proposition, which is, for example, at the moment we ask a customer to keep the pump, which would obviously it's a bit of a barrier. The labeling around with the brands is also an issue because it becomes a waste stream. And the other part of it is that there's lots of components to it. So if we can optimize the packaging and then create an inline filling and cleaning station that's kind of optimized to it, both from an operational perspective, it'll be a huge cost saving, but it also really enhances the consumer proposition. And no one else is doing this at the moment. Brilliant,
thank you. And now the questions are coming in thick and fast. So Phil Murray has asked, are you looking for other beauty product partners to link up with and provide their product through your refill process? And he's also made a suggestion, Bathhouse in Cumbria could be a good fit. So maybe just speak a little bit about the partnerships, the actual product partnerships.
Yep, sure. So these are the brands that we have onboarded as of today. So at the moment, yeah, we're definitely open to speak to anyone. I think what's really great now is that we actually have more people reaching out to us. I think I'm now nearly at like a brand a day reaching out to find out more about Circular, which is, fantastic. It removes a lot of my workload. And really, that's also what I believe the richness of the proposition lies. When I look at other beauty marketplaces and what a traditional D2C beauty brand is doing is finding the right marketplaces to be on. That's the vision for Circular, is to be the go-to place, to find your beauty products. And the best thing about it is that they can all be refilled, and we're solving a problem with, with packaging. So yeah, definitely, please, any suggestions, always more than welcome to, and I'll definitely check them out as well.
Excellent. And then Mangal has asked, could you please speak to the unit economics of refilling and the costs involved? Yeah. And then a second question about what rate of breakage could your model tolerate? So
yeah, so this is probably, there's a bit of a complicated slide, but the way that it works is that we obviously have a packaging cost. So to send out to a customer, you have a kind of unit cost of your packaging. At the moment, this is about 40p. With investment in our new model, this gets halved. So we obviously have, and the more that we reuse it, so at the moment, we're finding that with glass and aluminium, we're actually only being able to reuse that packaging about 3 or 4 times through our kind of cleaning process. Whereas by changing our packaging to our new solution, we believe that we can get at least 50 to 100 times of reuse. So that creates a huge operational saving. The second part of that is obviously we need to make sure that packaging is coming back to us, right? So what you don't want is lots of people buying Circular and then they never sign up to the refill service, and we're never able to collect that, that packaging back. So that's one of the kind of the key kind of operational points. The second question, sorry, was around breaking.
What level of breakages or rate of breakages could the model tolerate? So I guess it's probably breakages and non-returned bottles. Does it break? At what point does the kind of financials break down?
I was probably need to get back to you specifically on that as a question, but what we've, definitely, if I look at this slide that's at the moment, so that's the second line where it says Circular today, that is predicted on. So if you look at the amount of packaging that's required, and that's estimated on the packaging being reused 3 times. So you've pretty much already halved the amount of packaging required over 5 years. When you go to Circular with investment, that's reduced, even further. And the reason that doesn't go even lower is because what's not predicted in the model at the moment is that we only pick up empty packaging when we're delivering a new model. So we have some exciting things in place. So say, for example, Susanna, you bought Circular and then you're like, well, I don't want this anymore. At the moment, in our kind of how we operate is we don't yet come and pick up that packaging, but as we scale and we get scale in area, we could say, for example, okay, that's fine, you don't want any part of Circular anymore, but we can still recoup that packaging. So at the moment, our model doesn't even break with even using the packaging at least 2 to 3 times. And that's, but our preference is for it to be used more, not just from a commercial perspective, but actually from an environmental perspective, because I guess that's at the heart of kind of what we're trying to do.
Brilliant. And then, so John Waters has said, you've talked about securing sales with just £150 worth of advertising, but what are your plans for accelerating your customer advertising?
Definitely. So that's kind of one of the big parts of being able to onboard investment is at the moment I am the single founder, and a lot of this has fallen on my shoulders. And the only honesty I can say is that I'm not a marketing expert. I think I've done a reasonably good job, but we have 3 big components to our marketing strategy. One is online, obviously, but the reason not to just focus online is because we are still local, right? This is still at the moment focused on London. So if you think of the likes of an Oddbox, for example, you need online, you can get quite lost in it. So really our focus online is ensuring that the customers that we get, how do we make them into kind of Circular champions? So how do we have a very strong referral program to make sure that they're telling all their friends who hopefully kind of live in their local area or, near them to be able to be onboarded to Circular. The second part of that is offline marketing. So we've recently been selected by JC Decau to run an offline marketing campaign at about 80% of their usual costs in April. And we've seen that this is what we did in December. And it was just hugely beneficial. So we had a few pop-ups in December before lockdown in London started again. And that's where we drove over like half of those customers that we've kind of acquired since then. And then the third part of that is is word of mouth for us. So Instagram and social ads, they do work, but for us, being much more connected to your community, leveraging our existing community, and then actually offline, whether that's through kind of markets or outdoor advertising and pop-ups, is definitely going to be our strategy for 2021.
Brilliant, Claudia. We are now starting to get lots more questions, but we also need to, I think, wrap up your section there and move on. But thank you very much for presenting. Yours is absolutely an amazing story of launching a business before a lockdown into an industry that shut down, and then launching again and making a fantastic start with the new model. So brilliant. You've stopped sharing. So we will move now to Beagle, and we've got Daniel presenting. Daniel, if you could start your sharing process, that would be great. So Beagle are raising in the range of £300,000, and just at the start of their fundraising for this, and looking for investors interested in anchoring around that would probably then be second half of which will probably be fulfilled via crowdfunding. Daniel, can we do a little voice check?
We can. Sorry, Susanna. You are my eyes and ears.
There we go.
Let me know. Fantastic.
Very good. So 10 minutes for you to present, and then 10 minutes of Q&A, and when you're ready, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel Hemsley. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Beagle Button. If I told you that there was a browser extension out there that could help millions of people save the planet at the click of a button, you might say, what is a browser extension? Which would be a good question. We've got 10 minutes, and I'll explain exactly what a browser extension is and why it's the perfect tool to encourage sustainable shopping habits online. This story starts a few years ago, and this is a picture of me on New Year's Eve in 2016, wearing actually a bin on the bin lid on my head. This is New Year's Eve, so I'm suitably merry and blissfully unaware of the New Year's resolution I'm about to make that is going to fundamentally change my life, and that is to reduce my consumption of single-use plastics, which kickstarted my sustainability journey that has been both hugely rewarding but also immensely challenging. Being sustainable and making sustainable choices shouldn't be that hard, which is why we've created the Beagle Button. The problem that we tackle is intention and aspiration versus action. So sustainability is on the rise, and if you were to ask people, they would tell you that they want to make sustainable choices. 73% are the numbers, say that they want to buy sustainably, but in practice, only 25% of people actually do. They forget or they struggle to find alternatives or incorporate them into their lives, which means they end up stuck in bad buying habits, buying inferior products that make them unhappy, which is both bad for them and unfortunately terrible for our planet. Shopping sustainably is not easy, and if you were to go to Amazon and type in bamboo toothbrush, you'll get 3,000 results of varying degrees of quality and reputability. So as a how do you sort the independently genuinely sustainable certified products from the greenwashing? It isn't easy, which is where we come in with the Beagle Button, a free to use browser extension. So how does it work? It is very, very simple and easy to install to your browser with a single click. You then proceed to shop as normal with the Beagle Button sitting comfortably in the background. As you shop, we understand when you're looking at a product page, and when we match with a sustainable alternative that we have in our database, we pop up with a recommendation and say, hey, would you be interested in checking out this product instead? In practice, here are a few examples. So let's imagine it might be easy to do that you're in the middle of a pandemic and you need masks. You head over to Amazon and you type in disposable face or face masks. We'll pop up with a sustainable alternative. In this case, an organic, long-lasting, plastic-free alternative that is made right here in the UK. Another example would be you've just torn your favorite pair of jeans. With sustainability is the last thing on your mind. So you head over to Amazon, you go, I need some new black skinny jeans. We'll pop up with a sustainable alternative in the same color and in the same style. We do that with a bespoke scraper and matching algorithm that allows us to automatically and anonymously sit in the background and understand the products that you're looking at, which we then match to our growing database, which is currently at over 1,000 products. And all of this is driven by machine learning, and it intelligently improves over time. The products in our database, we have built that out against our 5 overarching sustainability values. So those are products that reduce waste, minimize emissions, support workers, protect animals, and avoid chemicals. We've verified these products using third-party certifications and research, as well as our own in-house knowledge and experience. It was really important to us to make it possible to personalize Beagle. So obviously sustainability is a broad term, and there are a number of sub-trends that make up sustainability. So everything from organic to vegan to long-lasting to made in the UK or buying from minority-owned business. Our users can personalize the Beagle button to show them the better that they want to see, and which means that we improve the recommendations that we show our users and ensure that the traffic that we send to our brand partners is high quality and therefore more likely to convert into a sale. Our business model is affiliate based, so we are free to the end user. Obviously, people love free products, which is helpful, and we generate revenue through affiliate commissions. Our current affiliate average commission is 10%, and we make that percentage on any sale within 30 days. So in practice, if a user clicks on a recommendation from the Beagle button and they are sent through to one of our brand partners, we'll make a small percentage of any sale that happens, any basket size within 30 days. That means that we're risk-free for our brand partners. This is the same business model that Honey uses, and for anyone who isn't familiar with Honey, they are a browser extension that was bought by PayPal for $4 billion in 2019. We think this has huge potential to disrupt the industry. So as it stands, we are more effective and cheaper than both Facebook and Google ads. So 10% versus 6 is what you'd likely to see on a sort of Google AdWords campaign. And this also means that we can double the conversion rate through our recommendations that is seen across the UK average retail e-commerce platforms and websites. So the important thing I suppose to note here is also, we're just getting started. We're at the very beginning of our journey. In terms of our market, we operate across all of online retail, the affiliate share of which is valued at £448 billion, which is a big and growing market. Within that, online shopping and sustainability are both on the rise and accelerated by COVID. And in the UK, sustainability shopping is rising 33% year on year. Our customers, we like to say, are the sort of type of person who has a keep cup, but maybe doesn't always remember to take it with them when they leave the house. They want to make sustainable choices. They're cash rich and time poor, but at the same time, they're overwhelmed by research and confused by what is rampant greenwashing. So we help them make better choices at the right time. But how do we get those customers? This is our 3-tiered growth plan. So it's a combination of organic, PR, and paid social. From an organic point of view, we've built a referral engine into the browser extension, which is and we reward any referral with tree planting. We've also been working hard to leverage the community of sustainably minded individuals and some of the champions across that community to get the Beagle button out there in our early stage. From a PR perspective, another member of the co-founding team is Tara Button, the founder of Buy Me Once, who in their first year went viral, reaching 130 million people, including Ashton Kutcher, of all people. And so we believe that we have the same sort of traction and a very, very good PR story, as well as the relationship with the same PR agency that Tara used to emulate that trajectory. We also spoke extensively with past and present growth leads at Honey about how they achieved growth in their early stage. And so we again will look to replicate that strategy. So that takes the positive results of your PR and applies a term that we call the amplification of earned media. So making positive PR results work really hard for you through paid social campaigns, which we'll use to target all of those sub-trends, be it plastic free, be it vegan, and target those communities of people online. In terms of competition, that can really be assessed through three different groups or three different tiers. There are a number of other sustainable browser extensions on the market. However, they tend to be more brand discovery tools. Our USP and what makes us different is that we offer product to product matching. So as I mentioned, if you're looking at skinny jeans in black, we'll match with the same color and style. So we work on a product level. There are also a number of sustainability focused apps out there. So people like Good On You and Geeky who do amazing things, but unlike them, a browser extension, one of the benefits of a browser extension is that we are inherently sticky. We take that intention that we spoke about and we ask you to download us once, and then we sit in the background and we don't need to remind anyone to use us. It's quite a shocking statistic that 25% of apps are only ever opened once. Which obviously doesn't affect us. Of course, there are major retailers who are going to respond to the growing demand for sustainability, but from conversations that we've had with our users, we don't think that anyone trusts them to deliver genuine change. So we obviously offer a point of differentiation. So we think, or we know that in the UK, we have first mover advantage and we have the right foundations in place, the technology, the brand partnerships, and the team to scale next year with further investment. That team includes myself. I am a former consultant by trade, and I'm also the founder of Unwrapped, which is a zero-waste, plastic-free subscription service. Dave is our COO. He has experience helping ethical enterprises scale and is also a former consultant. Magnus is our CTO. He's the full-stack developer who built the platform. And Tara Button, the founder, is our creative director, who is also the author of A Life Less Throwaway. In terms of this year, we set out to build a product that people would use, and fortunately they have. We wanted to get a beta version of the product live, which we have, and get 1,000 users onto the platform, which we've exceeded. We also have 4,000 users on our waiting list. The benefit of getting the user traction that we've had to date has been a growing understanding of how the platform works. And then we've been able to deploy those insights to improve the matching of our accuracy from 60 to 80%, which a number that will only go up and up as we increase the number of users and the amount of dev time we're able to devote to that. We've also achieved some fantastic organic PR. We've deliberately held off on PR until now, until we launch properly, but have had some organic results, namely the BBC World Service and appearing in the sort of type of listicle 6 browser extensions, or try this browser extension to make it easier to shop ethically online, the type of thing that we'll be targeting a lot more of post full product launch. In terms of feedback, in what we're taking as a really strong indication of product market fit, the consistent and single most consistent point of feedback that we get is that we don't pop up enough. So people love what we're doing, they just want to see more of it. We really see, in terms of longer term vision, the Beagle button as the first of many products. So we can scale the browser extension, grow the database, and move into services. At the moment, we operate across products, but there's also an entire service landscape of environmentally friendly, ethical, and sustainable alternatives that we can build in. But then we'll look to leverage that database. So beyond the browser extension, into e-commerce platforms. So that could be a website, that could be an app. And in addition to that, we're also generating a series of insights that we know to be valuable and fairly unique on sustainable shopping habits. And we're already in conversations with third parties about how we can package those up for both retailers and manufacturers. In terms of revenue, we're going to look to grow that in 3 ways as we scale. So that's increase the number of interactions that we have with a user, so increase the amount we pop up by increasing the size of the database. We're also going to refine the user experience that will further increase conversion, so bring the conversion rates up. And as we grow in scale, we'll be in a position to negotiate higher affiliate commissions with our brand partners. So at the moment, as I mentioned, we're at 10%, but those numbers can go anywhere from 25 to 30%. In terms of to achieve that growth, the next step is to raise 275K. That's on a pre-money valuation of 1.75 million, and we are SCIS and EIS eligible. We're going to use that money and those funds to give us a 12-month runway, which will allow us to build out the team to 5 full-time members of staff, build and launch the full product, grow our users to at least 15,000, which should allow us to hit 500K GMV next year. Our mission, we're going to change the way the world shops by making it too easy to do the right thing. We know people are lazy, but we can cater to that and make it easier to shop sustainably online. Thank you very much for listening. Please do download the Beagle button and drop us a line on how it's going. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Daniel. We'll jump straight into questions. Could you elaborate on the technical development pathway and what the e-commerce platform is likely to look like?
Sorry, hi Susanna. Yes, so in terms of the technical development, we've been on a very lean pathway essentially. So we've had about 3 months development time. So we do, we're sort of growing the database fairly manually at the moment. So part of that will be developing a way to scale that. And then further improving, looking into the algorithm to further improve our accuracy of matching. So that's essentially, I think, we're at 80% now, where we want to launch at about 95% before we get thousands more people using the product. So that's really what we'll be devoted to, and that is a combination, I suppose, of looking into the data and saying, okay, what are we seeing from how people are using it, and how can we implement a tech change that will help us, further improve that accuracy. So that is a sort of a deep development phase almost. That answers the dev question. And then in terms of your question about the e-commerce platform, so obviously we've got a database that is only going to grow, and at the moment some of the feedback that we're getting is, is there a way to just search for products, and actually we don't have that yet. So it could be as simple as just an e-commerce platform that, again, we use our affiliate partnerships to monetize, or it could be an app that an ethical or sustainable shopping app.
Brilliant, thank you. Question from John Cooper: for a user search within Amazon or ASOS, for example, is it technically feasible that they could block your plugin from intercepting the search?
Yeah, interesting question and interesting answer. So ultimately, Google and Amazon are effectively competitors. So that is unlikely to happen. And the integration, we sit within the browser. So the same way that a browser accesses a website, so does the extension. So being blocked is not necessarily something that we expect to happen anytime soon. And it's worth saying that the browser extension landscape is also evolving, quite dramatically. So there are a number of, I think historically it's potentially been a bit misunderstood, but as Honey developed and then sold for such an amount, I think it's sort of an exciting growth space that isn't likely to be curtailed anytime soon.
We've had a question about how you differentiate your browser from others.
Sorry, that's the sort of extension based on
Sorry, yeah. I think it's a competitor question.
Sure. So in the UK, there aren't necessarily anyone else doing what we're doing. So from our point of view, first mover advantage. In the US, there are examples of people who've attempted to do what we've done, but ultimately have sort of delivered essentially brand discovery tools that, if you use them, don't really work. Whereas what we do is product to product discovery. That's obviously technically much harder, but it also, what we've done is develop the foundations to scale that. So it does work. We just need to grow the database and grow the number of users, and it will be working much more broadly. Hopefully that answers the question, but the short answer is nobody else is doing what we do at a product to product level.
So this is a question I know you get asked a lot. How do you prove that the products that you suggest are more sustainable?
Yeah, and that's obviously, we are a trusted recommendation engine, so that's hugely important to us. So first and foremost, we've built a framework, and we've consulted with third parties about the best way to do that. And we're never going to really take that on ourselves. We look to third parties who've done that legwork and done a lot of hard work to prove that products have deserve the certifications that they have. So those products then, after they go through a fairly extensive ultimately filter, and then if they're fit for purpose, we add them to our database and show them to our users.
Great. We're getting a couple more questions in about the brands and how you ensure the balance between kind of multiple brands and sustainability, but we are out of time, and I want to make sure we've got time to move to the next. So we'll share those questions with you and we can get back to the people that have asked them directly. So thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you.
If you're happy to stop sharing as we just do our shuffle over. We're next going to hear from a company from our third fund, SunSwap, who were originally headlined to pitch at length this evening, but due to the I don't know, record-breaking speed in which they filled their crowdfund campaign, they'll just be doing a short 5 minutes, in particular focused at Fund 3 investors who will have preemption opportunity to join following on the full round that SunSwap raised last week. So Michael, you were sharing there, but it's just popped off again. So
yeah, I had to find the mute button again, which I couldn't seem to be able to do without stopping sharing. But yeah, hopefully.
I think you're on full audio and full visual now. So
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Thanks, Susanna.
Take it away, Michael.
Thank you. So yeah, as Susanna mentioned, I'm Mike Lowe, CEO and co-founder of SunSwap. We are on a mission to decarbonise the cold chain with our zero-emission transport refrigeration. Transport refrigeration units, or TRUs, are mounted at the front of trailers. They're used by supermarkets and other logistics companies to keep food, medicine, and vaccines cold as they're transported on the road. The operators of these TRUs have a number of problems with their existing diesel TRUs. Principally, they're very expensive to operate and will become even more expensive next year when the red diesel price increases by 70%. Additionally, there's a growing consumer desire for sustainability, and this is pushing supermarkets to become cleaner, and meaning now they're looking at all areas of business to reduce their environmental impact. Our solution is the SunSwap TRU. It is a fully electric, battery and solar powered TRU with several key features. Firstly, our adaptive battery capacity enables us to provide customers with a bespoke battery size that is tailored to their needs. Primarily, this saves them money on upfront costs, but it also allows them to maximize the payload that they're able to carry, further improving their logistics. We use solar panels to provide additional onboard energy, and the refrigeration system uses state-of-the-art cooling technology, which will be the first in the market to utilize low-impact refrigerant. Lastly, we've deliberately designed the product to meet a standard TRU package so that it could be integrated with existing trailer designs. Before founding SunSwap, my co-founders and I worked together at a business called Dim, an engine company, where we developed cryogenic TRUs. We deployed these TRUs with major UK and global retailers, including Unilever, Sainsbury's and Marks and Spencer. In recent months, we've employed 2 additional engineers and added 2 advisors to the team. So a bit of a background on our journey so far. We were founded almost exactly a year ago today, and we received our pre-seed funding from Sustainable Ventures last March. In the 6 months following that, we filed our first patent, commissioned our working prototype, and began 2 Innovate UK grant-funded projects. On these projects, we'll be working with Imperial College London and a research organisation called Cenex. These projects will accelerate SunSwap's engineering development, but also unlock new commercial opportunities. They were also the reason that we started our new round of investment when we did, and we raised that earlier this month. We launched that on the 5th of January and raised just over £500,000 in only 4 days. Obviously, we're very excited about the success of this campaign and the response it had. By the end of it, I think we had investment from over 850 investors. You can go to our pitch page. It's still available on Crowdcube on the URL shown there. You can actually still watch our video and look at our pitch in more detail. Following that, we're now moving over to seeders, where we'll be completing our preemption for existing shareholders. We have only just closed the round on Crowdcube, so there's still a few finer details to be defined, such as the amount that will be available for preemption, but also the date that it will be available on seeders. So please accept my apologies for the lack of information here. As Susanna mentioned, yeah, this was meant to be actually a pitch rather than information about preemption. So what will we do with that money? Essentially, we are going to file 2 additional patents to further increase our defensibility, support the Innovate UK projects, which will allow us to build and essentially deploy our next generation hardware, and then also secure our first customer contract. where we are with our commercial traction currently. As previously mentioned, our grant project with Cenex provides us with direct access to large customers, such as Sainsbury's, Tesco and Waitrose. We'll be showcasing our technology in front of 6 supermarkets next week, with the aim to secure at least some commercial commitment off the back of that. And then outside of that, we are talking to other European and global retailers with regards to our product. Furthermore, outside of all of this, is we've recently announced a partnership with a UK business called Ox, and we are now beginning the process of deploying our technology in Africa, the first country to be Rwanda. Yeah, thank you for listening. I'll now welcome any questions.
Brilliant, thanks, Mike. Just whilst people are possibly typing questions in, I'll just reiterate. So around the preemption, which is that you received over £500,000 of pledges on Crowdcube for the campaign, and you're just waiting for the final amount to be settled and then the cooling off period to take place, which we expect to take sort of minimum of 1 week, but possibly 2 weeks before we're then ready. And then once the final amount is known, then Cedars will send out preemption for all Fund 3 investors. And thank you to Mangle has asked, do SA4 investors get the chance to invest? Well, SA4 investor, or anybody who's other than SA3 investors, don't have.
I know what you're saying, Emily. Wow, colours.
Don't have preemption rights because they're not invested. So probably not within this round, because the round filled so quickly, which we had hoped that there would be an opportunity to invest, but there was a kind of race away at Crowdcube, which was great news for Sunswap, but not exactly what was expected. So currently no chance to invest in this round, but in next rounds, no doubt. Okay, well, it seems like that might have slightly put everybody's nose out of joint, Michael, between us saying that here's a fantastic investment opportunity, but unless you're in Fund 3, then not currently any space. So if you want to stop sharing, that would be great. Oh, sorry, someone has said, can you explain preemption? So I'll pick that up. So for anyone who's invested in Sustainable Accelerator 3, that's the fund from which we invested into Sunswap, and Cedars will send out an email to all of those investors with your preemption allocation, which is the amount that you can invest in order to hold your shareholding at the same percentage as it was previously. So based on the increase in the size of the round. So say, and someone's then written the same share price as Crowdcube. Yes, exactly. So at exactly the same price. So all Cedars investors have the right to participate in the round at exactly the same price as the new round raised via the preemption. So Cedars will, if it's your first time experiencing this, you'll get an email from Cedars which says, for this company that has raised, this is your exact preemption amount, and there's a link through to you being able to just single click and accept that and make payment for the shares that make up your that take your shareholding back up to the same percentage it was in the first place. Someone's written, so Roy's written, thank you, I'm a novice. We can always provide additional information on that and how that works, etc. But Cedars really do a great job of making that a simple user experience. So I expect that it won't be tricky when the information comes to you. So we are almost out of time, just 2 minutes to 6, and we did promise that we would finish up at 6 o'clock. So I want to thank all of our presenters for sharing their stories and fundraising decks with us. Thank you very much to all of you investors for coming along and listening. So from here, tomorrow we'll send out a follow-up email to everybody with the opportunity to kind of express interest in any of the companies and ask questions. And actually already people have been emailing me directly asking for further information about these companies. So that's great. So tomorrow you should receive an email with an opportunity to kind of come back to us if you have interest in investing in these companies, and we'll pick it up from there. So unless my colleagues have anything else they want to add that I've missed, Thank you very much for joining us, and I wish you a very good evening, and do expect to hear from us for follow-up events of this type. Thanks again. Good night.